Hello, dear students. Welcome to I-Fal. My name is Teacher Nikki, and I am here to have another video lesson with you. So I am so excited to talk about a new topic for you today that will help you understand and construct better sentences using the English language. I know that these lessons will be very helpful for you to communicate using the English language that are grammatically correct and properly constructed, considering that we will be talking about some grammar topics. So I want you to concentrate on our lesson today, pay attention to our sample sentences, and please practice them very well even after the class. So let's go ahead and start our lesson. Let's go.
So, for today's discussion, let's go ahead and talk about the second part for the modal verbs. Okay, so here, how do we use the modal verbs? So, luckily, using modal verbs in a sentence is pretty simple. Okay, so for basic sentences in the simple present tense, just remember these rules. So, modal verbs come directly before the main verb and, okay, except for in questions. Okay, so in simple sentences, just use or put your main or your modal verbs before your main verbs, okay? And use the base form of your main verb, okay? Except this is in question, of course, you would start, okay, with your modal verbs. All right, so with modal verbs, use the infinitive form of the main verb. So with most, but not all modal verbs, to is dropped from the infinitive. So we just use the bare infinitive. So if you want to brag about your ability to eat an entire pizza, okay, you use the modal verb can before the infinitive form of eat without to, which is simply eat. So the rest of the sentence continues as normal. Like, for example, I can eat an entire pizza. So this is an example of a simple sentence using your modal verb can. Now, if you want to communicate that circumstances are requiring you to eat an entire pizza, okay, you're required to. There is a necessity or an obligation to do the action. You might use the modal verb have before the infinitive form of eat, retaining to. So here we have to, okay? I have to eat an entire pizza, okay? I have to eat an entire whole pizza. All right. Okay. So here we didn't just use the bare infinitive, but we use the full infinitive to eat. But anyways, this is have to. Now, for yes or no questions, you still use the infinitive form of the main verb, but the order is a little different. So we have the modal verb, then your subject, and then your main verb infinitive. So, like for example, can you eat an entire pizza? Do you have to eat an entire pizza? Okay, so you can see there that we use our infinitives, but in exception to have to, okay, because here you have to use do. Do you have to eat an entire pizza? All right. Now, for present tenses, we already covered the simple present above, so which from the previous examples, but you can also use modal verbs in the present continuous, okay, and present perfect continuous tense. So you can see here for present continuous, after the modal verb, use the word be followed by the ing form of the main verb. So it is modal verb plus be plus verb ing form. Example, I should be going. So this is present continuous using modal verb. Okay, so present perfect continuous, okay, you can add a modal verb before a main verb in the present perfect continuous tense without changing much. However, note that the main verb always forms the present perfect continuous using have been when appearing with a modal verb, never had been, even if the subject is third person. Now, the formula or the structure is modal verb have been plus main verb in ing. Example, she must have been sleeping. Why is that so? Because your modal verb takes the base form of your verb. So therefore, you use have been. No had, no has. Okay? So she must have been sleeping. So this is present perfect continuous. Now, for simple past and present perfect tense, using a modal verb in the simple past or present perfect, okay, is a little trickier. So let's see how. Now, only a few of the core modal verbs have the ability to refer to past time, okay? So a few of the modal verbs can only refer to past time. We have could, might, should, and would. So they do this by functioning at times as the past tense forms of their fellow modal verbs can, may, shall, and will. But keep in mind that, as we saw above, could, might, should, and would also have different senses in which they refer to the present or in the future. So, depending on the type or the meaning that they are trying to convey. Okay. So, indicating possibility, permission, request, habit, or other conditions. So, none of the modal verbs can be used in the past perfect, the past continuous, or the past perfect continuous tense. So, we cannot use them in past perfect tense. Okay? Now, for simple past, of the main modal verbs listed at the top, only can and will can be used in the simple past. So, can and will. The expressions have to and need to can also be used in the simple past when conjugated when you add had to or needed to. Other modal verbs use the present perfect to discuss events in the past. So let's see some example. Can and will use their past tense form plus infinitive form of the main verb without to. Example, could, would plus main verb. I could do a handstand when I was a kid. During exam season in college, I would not sleep much. So these are past in essence. Now, present perfect. To form the present perfect using modal verb, could, might, should, or would, use the present perfect form of the main verb, which is have plus the past participle. As with the present perfect continuous, you always use have, even if the subject is third person. Could, might, should, would, have plus main verb, past participle. Example, I might have gone to the party, but I forgot. So this is in the past, okay? Present perfect, might have gone, okay? Now, so future tense, because the simple future, future continuous, and future perfect are future perfect continuous tenses of main verbs are already formed with the modal verbs will when you want to indicate likelihood, permission, or of the other conditions discussed above. In the future, it often makes sense to do it in some other way than adding a modal verb. Example, they will be more likely to come over tomorrow if you give them plenty of warning. So, future tense in this case. And however, there are also situations in which a modal verb other than will can be used to talk about something in the future. So in these cases, the new modal verb just replaces will in the sentence and the main verb takes the same form it would with will. I can hang out tomorrow, can for future. Could I be majoring in law next year? They should have left by the time we get there. This is also future. By 20 years from now, I may have traveled to more conferences than I care to recall. Than I care to recall. So in this one, it's future perfect. You're imagining that a future action, okay, by a future time, the action is finished. All right?
So I hope you find our lesson today very helpful. So as I always say, the secret in making your communication skills in English better is constant practice. So I want you to please keep on practicing all the lessons that we've had in the past and even this present lesson. So I know that you can do it really well and you'll improve yourself eventually. So just keep believing in yourself and practice more, okay? Now, please stay tuned to our more lessons here in I-Fal and please visit our website that I will flash on the next screen. I also encourage you to please subscribe to our classes because we have a lot of amazing teachers that will help you and guide you in improving your English skills. So once again, this is Teacher Nikki. So I'll just see you again on the next classes and video lessons that we're going to have. I know that we will have more amazing lessons in the future. So stay tuned and good luck. Study harder and I'll see you next time. Bye.